Yes, good morning friends. It's a beautiful frosty morning. First major frost of the year. Autumn is in full swing. Definitely feels like we're moving away, far away from summer and moving into winter. A little water in the bird feeder is frozen. But it's gonna be a beautiful day. It's gonna warm up and there is some really good surf right now. And it's been a little while since I've gone surfing, so I think I'm gonna throw the wetsuit and the boards in the car, probably throw the hood on as well, and drive down, try to catch some waves, and then we'll come back here and do some tasks around the homestead and catch up. Stay tuned. Good morning, Lanka. Hi, buddy. You sleep okay? Huh? A lot of people been asking about you. They're saying, "Where's Lanka? What's Lanka doing?" Lanka's just chilling. He's being a good boy. Lots of changes, but he's been really flexible and adapted really well. Isn't that right, buddy? Okay, well, we just got to the wave and a little bit smaller than I hoped for. What can you do? Kind of a mish out here, but absolutely beautiful. Super gorgeous stretch of undeveloped coastline and a fun wave. So I'm gonna get changed and hop in the water and we'll touch base after the surf. Oh, so good. So good. Nothing like getting in the ocean to wake you up, make you feel alive. And I just want to take a moment here to bring you a message from the sponsor of this video, the egg. Let's take a moment to appreciate the egg. It's the perfect snack. It's well balanced, it's portable, it's got a biodegradable wrapper. You can take it anywhere once you hard boil it. You gotta boil it first. It's not as portable when it's not boiled. But thank you, Egg, for taking me on this adventure, fueling me. And yeah, you can get an egg at a supermarket or out of a chicken near you. Eggs. You know. It was nice to get into the ocean, have a little surf, and now it's the next day. things have changed a lot. It feels like just between yesterday and today that autumn is now over and winter has begun. The temperature has dropped a lot. We're getting a big push of cold air from Antarctica sweeping up from the south. It's been cold today. We have the fireplace going. I have some beef short ribs, which I'm gonna be cooking up for dinner tonight. So I guess I just wanted to take a moment here and do something that I've been meaning to do for a while. Firstly, I just started sharing some of my recipes. Living out here on the homestead, we can't get food delivered. Like, there is no Uber Eats or Domino's delivery. We're too far from town for that. So we cook every single meal. And with Carrie, over the last year, with her being pregnant, and now with our little one, Eliana, I'm cooking the vast majority of the meals. But that's okay, because I actually really enjoy cooking. And I've been asked by some of you for my recipes, and I've just decided I'm gonna start sharing those recipes more regularly over on my Instagram account. So if you're watching here on YouTube and you don't follow me on Instagram, change that, head over to Instagram, follow my account, alexander.ayling, and I'll be sharing more of my cooking recipes over there. I just shared one from a really delicious shepherd's pie with like a pie crust on top that I made a few nights ago, and that went really well. People are super stoked about it and excited about new recipes. So tonight's dinner will be a beef short rib over a bed of mashed potatoes with some roast carrots and some steamed broccoli. And I will be sharing that in a reel on my Instagram. So if you want to see those recipes and to get the full breakdown of those, then head over and follow me on Instagram. Also, I want to give a shout out to my channel members. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining the channel. I'm going to also be sharing a lot more content regularly on that community page, as well as early access to all upcoming videos. We leave New Zealand in about a month. We've got a really busy month up until we travel abroad. We have people house sitting for us, which we're super excited about. Really cool people who are gonna hold down the fort here at the homestead, watch over Lanka, and then we're gonna head back to visit family in the United States and do a trip to Spain and take Carrie and Eliana to visit Carrie's family in Madrid and to visit my friends over in the Basque Country. So we're really looking forward to that as well. I haven't been back to the Basque Country, I think, since 2016. So, 8 years. And I lived there, 2012 and 2013. So it's been a long time. Time flies. It's crazy. You get to your mid-30s and you go, wait a second, what? I still feel like I'm in my early 20s. Anyways, so I will be cooking a delicious dinner later, but one of the things that I mentioned I wanted to start doing more regularly on the channel is just giving updates about books that I've read and am currently reading. And so let's take a moment to do that. So here are some of the books that I've read fairly recently. Let's start off with the one I just finished, Chip War by Chris Miller. This was published, I believe, in 2022. It's become so much more pertinent to read due to all the hype around artificial intelligence, AI, basically computing in general. You may have heard of Silicon Valley in California. Why is it called Silicon Valley? Well, because silicon is what is used in chips, in computing chips, processing chips. And those were created and developed first in Silicon Valley, California, in the United States. And this book is all about that history of the development of computing power and processing chips, semiconductors as they're known, and the development of that industry, how it started in California, and then various aspects of the production were outsourced abroad, primarily to Taiwan off the coast of mainland China, and how that crucial industry is now at the nexus of global competition, primarily between the world's two superpowers, the USA and China. So if you're interested in any of that stuff that's happening, if you're interested in technology, if you're interested in artificial intelligence, or if you're interested in geopolitics, all of those things are interesting to me, then check out Chip War, read this book. By the way, all the books will be linked in the description of this video. The next one that I read and recommend is The Book You Wish Your Parents Had Read, and Your Children Will Be Glad That You Did. This is not throwing shade on my parents or anybody else's parents, but you know, it's basically a really interesting insight into raising children. And the author, Philippa Perry, is a psychotherapist, and she has lots of really interesting examples and stories that shed light on good ways of parenting that I guess are proven with, you know, psychotherapy. So it's pretty good. I'm about a third of the way into it. I need to finish it, so it's on my bedside table. I just got distracted with Chip Wars. Another one that's good for geopolitics, for the people who are interested in the geography of the world and how that dictates nations and power and politics. This is a great one. I think I've recommended this book before. I recently just reread it, The Power of Geography. And the predecessor of this book is a great book as well. It's called Prisoners of Geography. I'll link that in it as well. But basically, it's an awesome breakdown of the modern world and where geography is basically dictating how events will unfold as various nations compete to exert control in their regional areas. So if you're interested in, you know, global politics and travel, geography, this is a wonderful book to read. Carrie bought me this one. It's really thin. It's an easy book to read. It's a good one. It's kind of like, well, basically, long story short, the fictional character wants to learn how to do Zen Archery. So he moves to Japan, enrolls in a Zen Archery monastery where he has a teacher, and it's got these nice little parables and examples about life and growth, and how you kind of have to fall in love with the process of becoming versus focusing a lot on the end goal of, you know, wanting to achieve something and master something really quickly. It's about doing the work in between and falling in love with that process of doing the work. So this was a good read. It's really easy to read, and it's one that you can kind of grab again and again when you're maybe feeling a little stuck or feeling like you are plateauing on whatever your journey is. This is a good one to read. Chop wood, carry water. Plus, I do a lot of chopping wood and carrying water here on the homestead, so it seemed like a good book to read. This one was really fascinating. I have this strange obsession with Central Asia. I've traveled to Kazakhstan and to Uzbekistan and to Turkey, and there's something really, really interesting about that part of the world. It is the center of the Eurasian continent, and all these different cultures have moved through there. And it's kind of played host to many different empires and this push and pull between East and West. And this book is really, really, really well written from Anthony Satin. I could not put this book down. It's called Nomads The Wanderers Who Shaped Our World, and it's a deep dive into the Mongols and the misconceptions that we in the West in the modern times have about the Mongol Empire, Genghis Khan, and the largest land empire in the history of the world. So if you're interested in reading about Central Asia, about the Mongol Empire, and how nomads and nomadic cultures have influenced sedentary farming civilizations throughout the
the history of the world, this is a fascinating book to read, so I highly recommend it. And then this is the one that I'm reading right now. My buddy Dave got me this. They came to visit us at the beginning of the year, and he left me with this book when they took off, and it's called Pastoral Song, A Farmer's Journey. It's by James Rebanks, and it's basically a story. It's his life, a farmer in the Lake District of the UK, which is like one of my favorite parts of the United Kingdom. Super beautiful place. Very stunning landscapes that have inspired generations of artists, including even Taylor Swift recently. All you Swifties out there, you know what song I'm talking about. This is a fascinating book. It's really good. It's basically showing his experiences growing up with his grandfather, who was farming in the traditional style, and then his father, who was in kind of like the 1960s and 70s and 80s, transferring from that older style of farming, the traditional style of farming, into this new modern mechanized style of farming. And living out here in the countryside, surrounded by working farms, it's been really interesting to read this book, get a better understanding of how farming has changed so much. I think that living in cities, we often overlook the importance of farmers and take for granted that food just arrives in grocery stores. Maybe during the pandemic, we kind of all had an eye-opening experience where, grocery stores had empty aisles, and it was a bizarre and frightening experience. Well, this book will put into perspective and explains beautifully to those of us who aren't farmers how the food system works, how farming used to work, and worked for 10,000 plus years, ever since the agricultural revolution began over 10,000 years ago, up until very recently, within 50 to let's say 70 years, basically post World War II, how farming changed and how it's affecting the potential future of humanity. So this is a really good book. If you're interested in that, check it out. And yeah, I also read on my Kindle Walter Isaacson's new biography of Elon Musk. Very interesting character, Elon. If you've never heard of Walter Isaacson before, he's probably the best modern biographer. He writes only biographies, and he's done some incredible ones. I also read the Steve Jobs biography from Walter Isaacson. And so very fascinating insights into both of those somewhat eccentric tech CEOs, but the people who are shaping the world that we're currently living in and the technologies that we use on a daily basis. So I'd recommend both of those books. They really shed a lot of light on the people behind kind of the legends, if you will, the modern mythology surrounding these tech billionaires. Kind of showcase a bit more of the humanity on that side, but also a lot of the rough edges. And you get a better understanding of both of these people and what drives them and what their end goals are. So if you're interested in those, I would recommend those books as well. There's two other books that I am going to read that I haven't read yet, and I'll go grab them. I forgot this book. This book was such a good read. Troy by Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry is actually a British comedian who has written all of these. He was trained and studied Greek mythology, and he has a wonderful collection of Greek myths. He's got a book called Heroes. He has another one called Myth, I believe. And then this one, Troy. I've read all of them, most of them on my Kindle, but I bought this one. This was so good. I love the Iliad and the Odyssey, Homer. These are some of the oldest stories written, some of the oldest written stories that have come down to us from ancient times. And this book, all of these from Stephen Fry are so well done because he knows the subject matter so well, but he's also a comedian. So he adds so much flavor to these characters and really makes them feel more human than, you know, some of the other just pure myths. He gives a whole new light to these timeless stories. So this one is really good. Could not put it down. Highly recommend Troy, highly recommend Heroes, highly recommend Myth. They're all great, and they're really easy, fun reads. The last two books that we're going to talk about, this one I picked up recently, The Psychology of Money, Timeless Lessons on Wealth, Greed, and Happiness. I'm looking forward to reading this. It's going to be a good one. You know, it's kind of like investing, personal finance, business decisions, all kind of put together in an easy to understand format. So I haven't read this yet, but I'm looking forward to reading it. And then this one, Peter Zeihan, he has kind of become a bit of a social media star as of late, but this was one of his breakout books. The End of the World is Just the Beginning, Mapping the Collapse of Globalization. So I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. This is fairly dense. I don't know much about Peter Zeihan other than he seems to be quite intelligent and also somewhat controversial. So, you know, we'll see how this book goes, but definitely has an interesting title. It's fairly girthy, so we'll get to it. These are next. These two books are next on my to-read list once I finish the Pastoral Song. Okay, so that's what I've been reading. That's what I'm reading now, and that's what I'm going to read, especially as the weather gets cold and rainy and we have a fireplace going. You know, sitting down and reading at night is a really, really good thing to do. And then also, I've been reading children's books to my daughter. She's 10 and a half weeks old and enjoys being read to, and I enjoy reading to her. And that is a tradition that we will continue to do for a very, very long time. So yeah, if you're looking for books to read, you know, it's good. It's good to read. You don't have to read all the time, but you know, reading from time to time is good. There's a lot of good stuff on TV, but there's also lots of good books to read. So here we go. That's all of them. Okay, so let me know in the comment section which of those books you find most interesting. I will see all of you in the next video on this channel very, very soon. More updates, more travel plans, more travel tips, and some vlogs from around the world coming to you soon. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you're all doing well, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace. Hey, don't go anywhere. I got plenty more videos for you to watch. So check out either of these two, and don't forget to subscribe. All right, see you in the next video.